Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Welcome once again dear learners to the NPTEL module on handling large scale data using Stata, and we are now explaining how to manage data with the Stata. So far in last two lectures we have been trying our best to introduce you with Stata, and there are many pointer options or command options we discussed, but now onwards it will be more practical oriented. Though earlier classes were also practical oriented, but the appetite of understanding Stata was through data. Okay, so we introduced data earlier. Now onwards we are using data with the help of Stata software. Okay, so deliberately the title is defined as managing data in Stata. So once again for your understanding, I am going to use the Stata 15 software, and I am again suggesting you to operate yourself through the demo version, or if you have a purchase version or license version, please open that and start working and go through our instructions and also interpretations. Now, when you start your work with the data set, first of all it is always good to understand the data set and try to clean up as much as possible for smooth functioning and smooth interpretation of the results. So, each data file contains some documentation, because without any structured presentation of the data which is provided by the surveyor or the organization which make data, if they do not make it in a structure, it is very difficult to understand. So, to make it put it in a structure, they sometimes compress, they go by systematic commands, and so that the data is in structured, but for us that just cannot be extracted and used. You have to mine the data or simplify the data a bit and start explaining it. So, here we are to help you how to simplify the data and make it in a structure. So, the tip here is given that always you go through the documentation file. Every data we have already shown those documentation with NSS, National Sample Survey, ISDS, and National Family Health Survey data. Please check our previous lectures, you will be guided with the documentation very clearly. Before starting to work, it is once again suggested you to please check the documentation. We will also guide you side by side. Unfortunately, not all data sets have good documentation or any documentation at all. So, understanding the nature of data itself is a vital skill for all of us. Now, as highlighted, it is always advisable to examine your data when you first read it into Stata to check all the variables and observation are present and in the correct format. Okay, that is very essential. Now, the practice data set for today's lecture we are going to use is National Sample Survey 7th round that was published in 2015-16, and we are focusing on block number 2. There is a purpose behind using this. Our title of the module is handling large scale data, unit level data with Stata. Since the title is large scale, we are trying to equip you all with the core data set which are available for social science discipline as well as for management discipline largely. others can also get the advantage out of it. Now, what I am suggesting you will also provide you whatever we are using it, we will also provide this database to you. These are going to be your added materials, NSS 7th round block number 2. This data is also available, as I already guided you in earlier lectures. This is already available, but all the blocks are available. If you go by all the blocks, the data will be very large enough, and it consumes huge byte space. The memory is consumed. So, when you operate, it takes time. So, we will guide you side by side how to filter and simplify. So, for your simplicity, we deliberately draw on we have deliberately drawn a sample of 25, and the command is given, you can experiment on your own. So, from the original data set, we have reduced to 25% of the total sample for easy operation and understanding of the data. Now, let me proceed to start working with data. Okay. Now, let me open the data set first. First of all, I will also provide you the data, the 25% of the sample data to you, along with this PPT, and since you have already downloaded the Stata version, I assume that you have downloaded so far the demo version you have got so far, or you have purchased. So, please keep 3 things together. Okay. First is one sample data, otherwise if you do not have sample data, it is becoming difficult for you. I guided you in the last class about Stata directory, and we used life expectancy data. You can also operate from there as well. This is a very simple small data set, and very quickly you can understand applying the command we are going to suggest. Now, let me tell you what you are supposed to collect at this moment. A Stata version must be there, maybe very old, maybe 13 onwards version, but at this moment even older version is going to be useful, except few commands. Okay, like I told you already, help command, search command, find it command was earlier used, and but still most of the operation you can do with the earlier version. If those are freely available by any reason, you can also procure that. Okay, you can write it to Stata curve and they will guide you. Okay. So, now here is the window for you to start working with the data. I have opened, once again let me tell you, I will just guide you since I have already opened here. So, you go to the file and file menu, then you open. Okay. Once you open, I have actually opened here the practice data set NSS 7/3 block 2 .dta. I have already guided you .dta file must be there. Otherwise, it might be problematic. Some data can be also imported with different versions, like Excel or maybe other whichever are supported to you. You can also open that, but at this moment I am working with DTA .dta. So, I have this. I am also going to use some other aspect to it. Later on I will be discussing about ISDS data, practice data set ISDS. I will tell you later, but at this moment I am using NSS 7/3. Okay. So, these after opening that, all the variables list are actually popped off or not popped up, it is visible at the right hand side under variable heading, and their respective properties are also getting visible to all of you. Okay. Now, here is the data review file. As I told you, if you click on tab, it keeps on rotating with the availability of review, then variable, then properties, then command, then result. Okay. Result is not visible through tab, but others are visible. Okay. So, let me proceed. Now, start with understanding browse or edit, as I already told you. Okay. Browse starts a pop-up window in which you can examine the raw data. Edit allows you to manually change the data set. Okay. So, in the last lecture, I specifically mentioned that please try to, if you just want to check the data and their nature, try to go by the browse, not by the edit. Okay. So, if you want to change the data, then you click on edit or you type edit, then the variable, or you wanted to change the particular value within the variable, then you go by edit, that is separate. But always it is suggested to open the browse data, okay, unless it is necessary. Okay. So, most of the time we only want to view a few variables at a time. All the variables, like let me start with, I will operate now. There are two options to simply you may click, there are two at the toolbar menu. There are two. First one is I can highlight here, data edit, then data browse. That is one option. If I just click on browse, it will show you the data fitted in .dta format, and it is now visible to us. Okay. Now, instead of open that, easiest way you can simply type br, all right, br and enter, all right. It will also direct you to the same window. Okay. Else if I just click on click on edit, edit, it will also give you the same data, but now there is a difference. Here you can change the data, okay, but in br command, browse command, you are not going to change the data, okay, you can only see the data. So, as I told you already that seeing the data is different than that of editing the data. It is safe to see the data. When you are doubly sure that you are going to change the data, then you open the edit command, okay. All right. So, let me move on to our next operation. Okay. Now, our next operation is, like as I told you, usually when you open the data, there are so many variables, usually there are so many variables. You look at this, I have already told you that just by br command I have opened the data set before you. There are so many variables listed, okay. You can just scroll to right, you will find so many variables, but so many variables you may not be interested to look at a given time. You may simply type br any two variable name, okay, or three variable name, or even one variable name, whatever you are interested to carefully check, just click on or type that particular variable. I am just putting a double click here, also putting a double click here, okay. Now, I am there to switch on or enter the enter button, okay. So, it has given me only two variables information in the browse, okay. Similarly, in the edit command as well, you can go through. Now, let me proceed further to other details, okay. Now, so here is the detail, all right. Now, next important aspect for our understanding is listing. Now, unlike browse and edit command, list command helps you to examine the data within the result window. Like help window and see help window, we told you earlier, one is in another new window will open up, and in the C command, C help window, it gives you the command within that same window. So, similarly, list command helps you to examine the data within the result window, okay. Like when I browse or edit, another window popped up. So, but if I am interested to look at some variables and a specific aspect of it, I can go by list, okay, because it will be visible on the same window, result window. Result window we mean here only on your screen, okay. So, I will operate and let you know all this. So, this command will actually produce a listing of every variable value for every subject in the data set. This command is not feasible for large data sets. Why? Because so many information will be actually visible on the screen, and all your screen space is blocked, and it will be very difficult to scroll down till the end, okay. And it will be very uneasy. That does not mean it will be not visible, it will be very uneasy to check. Like if I am not going to do that all together. If I do it, all will be actually opening on the same screen. It will be very suggested not to open that, better to, if you want to check entire, better to open in the new window, okay. Now, so list is important. we can do the listing is more manageable when used for some variables or options. Okay, as I just told you couple of minutes back, options are important. List variable 1 and 2, you will get the listing of the values of 2 variables, okay, for every subject in the data set, like this. Suppose I do here for you. So, I just typed list list. Now, variable 1 here, then variable 2 let it be here, okay. I just enter. Now, look at this, these are actually visible on the same screen, okay. These are visible on the same screen, but I am interested if so many data I wanted to, so many variables I wanted to check at a go, I will suggest you to go by the browse, okay. Now, list variable, okay, now this is going to be more interesting. Now, if there are some lakhs of observations, usually the data set we are handling has more than 2 lakhs or even NFHS 6 lakhs observations are there, okay. So, 6 lakhs observations and you are going to show by the variable on the screen is also going to be cumbersome. So, what we do, if some clarity are required from the from particularly from 5 observation or maybe last 5 observation or maybe some portion of the observation, we have some separate command. Here this command enable you to check a listing of the values of 2 variables for the first 5 subjects. 2 variables we have put here as variable 1 and variable 2. So, 2 variables are there for you for the first 5 subjects in the data set with the command in 1/5 list variable in 1/5. Let me operate it for you. Okay. Okay. So, what we have dealt so far is understanding some portion of our data, let it be 1/5. So, I am deliberately trying to open the Stata once again to show you how 1/5 is being displayed in the command. How it is important, let me clarify before you. Yes, it is here. So, how to do it? So, I will discuss list, then 2 variables, then in 1 upon 5. Okay. So, now let me click here by list list, then as I told you 2 variables, just double click on 2 variables, this and this, let it be 2 variables, then I am using in, okay, in 1/5 1 upon 5, all right. So, let us enter. So, it has given us the the details of 1/5 of the observations. Okay. Now, let me understand other details from our explanation. Similarly, if you want to list list the values of the 2 variables for the last 5 subjects in the data sets. Last 5 subjects instead of 1 upon 5, here actually last means L, let me help you, L is important. So, it is even highlighted letter L in lower case, not in capital, because Stata is very sensitive with the exact command. If you are deviating from it, there may be some errors. So, if I just show you once again with the command, like what I try to do, I will go by the previous command. You can page up, if you use page off, you will get that command, but here also I can show you page up. So, page up command is now visible to me. For you, just click on the page off key in your keyboard, okay, you will get that. Now, I am going to delete this 5, I will just show you -5 slash small l. Okay. Now, enter. Now, it has given you the last 5 information. Okay. So, it is very important, though it is visible as not so important, but you have to be very handy in your operation, you will certainly use it. Those who are those who wish to have a mastery on Stata, these commands are very important for better explanation. Similarly, list if you want observation 60 till the last, okay, observation 60 till the last, then 60/L is going to be important. So, L is important, small l in lower case we are suggesting you to enter. Similarly, list variable 1 if variable 1 double equal to certain value. If you want to get certain values, okay, and how variable 1 looks like with certain values is very important. This command will produce result for variable 1 with limited observation, that specify certain values, okay. Any value you just enter and you will certainly get that. So, but if command is essential, because you are conditioning to a particular value, alright. So, I am not going to explain you, if you are stuck we will clarify in the doubt class, okay. Now, other details are there like describe. You might have heard in many article, many journal papers, description is very important. Though though variable description is a different one, but some information we can derive from the describe table, okay. But describe table is always very important. Now, the command is highlighted in different blue color, okay. For you I am going to show you how describe is going to clarify you. So, let me type it here. Simply D is also going to give you the result. D underscore of D was there, So, just click on, you will give the get the data, okay. Or DES or describe, whatever you type, you will get the information for sure. Now, look at how clearly you get the information of your data, those which we are trying to work. Look at this. Now, the data now is visible before you, was generated on 6th August 2020 at 2:26 or 14:26 hours. So, now it is also showing that practice data set NSA 7/3, which I have already told you. Now, it also gives information like storage types, whether a string or in double entry or in numeric, all those details are also going to be there. So, the second column is actually explaining that. So, variable name on the first column, but variable label is very important for a researcher to understand the data. Labeling of the variables, which label, which name is there, and you can also rename those labeling, okay. I will guide you in between. Also, now look at other entries, okay, here. Like all the variables information are given. Double, as I told you, string 3, string 12, 2045 I told you, one string str 1 till 2045 entries are there for string values. String L, sometimes the long string, large string are coded as read as strl, okay. So, other details will guide you in between. Let me proceed. All right. Even the data name, data set name, as I already told you, with their location is directory or the file name is clearly highlighted here, okay. Now, the primary goal of running describe before you is to actually find what variables you have and what they are called. Variable labels, as I already guided you. If you want to know about only one variable or more, to describe variable list, like in the screen which we have just shown you, actually describes entire variable. Now, you might forget one thing. In last class I started guiding you, when you operate any kind of trial and error, even any kind of operation or management with Stata, I always suggest that you start with a log file. I will guide you in between what do you mean by log file. Last class I started, but I did not guide you in detail. Here is the option I am just pointing out, it will show you log begin close, okay. Otherwise file, then log, then you begin, okay. If you do that, and there are two options, I will guide you, actually all the details are going to be dealt in this lecture only. Like log files comes with SMCL or in text format. Text format is suggested because if we generally take those result to Word format or even Excel format for further operations, for further manipulations, okay. So, I will guide you all detail, but I will suggest you just click on this and save with a file name. Rest of the details I will guide you in due course of time, okay. Now, variable list, as I told you, variable list or the describe variable, as I already told you, start with a D, you enter with the D command or DES command or even describe command, it will give you the result. If you are interested to go for only one variable, you simply click on that variable, like here, yes, I will again type D, okay, D, or you just go by your insert, your page up command, you will get that same command, but now I am only using one variable. One variable, let it be here as let me use another variable called state, okay. Now enter, it gives the information of one variable, okay. When you are quite sure you wanted to operate with particular variable, so why to check so many, okay. So many may not be going to be very important. One is if important, you just click on that and find out. Otherwise, if less number of variable are there, you can check at a go, okay. So, variable list is a list of or var list is a list of one or more variables on which the command is to operate. The subject of the verb or state works works on the concept of a single set of variable currently defined and contained in memory, each of which has a name, okay. We have already mentioned that. Basically, this suggests that you click on the variable, okay, you will get the list. If you want more variables, you click more variables, then you will get okay, you will get the information. The var list specifies which of the defined variable are to be used in the command, all right. So, this is the window we have already shown you. Now, similar to the this kind of window we shown you, but now this is little different because now we are going to operate with a summarize. Earlier one was actually describe, okay. This kind of window we have shown you. Now, I am going to talk about summarize, okay. So, summarize gives you descriptive statistics, and this is going to be very useful for all the researchers. All the researchers while writing papers and communicating to journals, even for books or even for assignment, if you do not give a descriptive statistics of all your variables you are using for modeling, I think your modeling is completely redundant. How another author is going to understand your variable descriptions, okay. These carries with different name, variable descriptions, descriptive statistics, okay. And usually this gives information like how many observations are there, the mean, standard deviation, minimum and maximum. So far as a standard command, that is summarize, you are going to enter. This is called a standard command for summarize or descriptive statistics. There may be a detailing of the summary descriptions as well, okay. Sometimes some researcher in the paper write a summary, okay. So, in a table they in the heading they simply write summary, okay. So, summary also give you some this kind of description. Now, as highlighted here, summarize, you can write summarize or SU, only SU, okay. SU, it is underscore SU is mentioned or underlined with SU. So, with the variable list will give you the detailed information about it. Now, let me guide you first before going to the detailing of it. Now, if I just type SU, okay, or summarize SUM also, usually in my understanding many researcher usually enter SUM sum, okay. So, let me exercise with SU. If I simply start with SU, it gives all the variables and their summary. how to read those, you just have a look how to read these. Look at this, as I told you, it gives information like observation, mean, standard deviation, mean, maximum. Another important things to be noted here, why observations boil down to be 0, because of string information. As I told you, wherever you have numeric values or labeled numeric values, you will get the result, because there are then only we can able to enter some statistics on those data. Okay. Some mathematical operations are made on the numeric data or even on the labeled numeric data, but if it is a string variable, it only represent characteristics, coding, or some coding with the picturization of it, or with the time Roman characters are there. It is very difficult to actually do any mathematical operations. So, here the summary does not give information about the string variable, like observation is now showing a 0. I will tell you, when we go by the numeric value, it gives you observation, like numeric value here for us NSS, NSC. Okay. Now, as I told you already, now here now number of fast, let me read you, number of fast stage units surveyed within a stratum for subsample, then number of fast stage units surveyed within a stratum for subsample combined. So, these are also MLT weight, or the multiplier within a stratum, then weight of those indicators. These are in numeric entries. Even you can check with your data browse. Okay. So, as I told you, if it is in red color, these are clearly the string data. Now, if you browse through other variables, I am going by the right scroll, not the bottom or vertical, I am going by the horizontal scroll. Okay. Now, look at the black fonts. Black fonts, as I already guided you in the last class, that these indicates numeric values. Had it been blue color, these are called labeled numeric, still operations are possible with this command. Okay. So, we will clarify further details. Let me now go to the window once again. Okay. What I wanted to say here once again to you, that if you are not interested to summarize all the variables, you are interested into the particular variable, then you can simply write down the variable name. Okay. But usually when you have already filtered and you have used the particular variable for your model, and you know that these variables are important, so better to include all the variables, okay, which variables are important for you. Okay. Or like in your data set, so many variables are available. If you simply go by sum SUM or SU, it gives the variable descriptive statistics, description, not variable description, descriptive statistics of entire variable available in the data. But in your model, like in a regression model, you have used only selected few. Okay. Why to include the descriptive statistics of entire data? You are interested for only those lists. So, enter only those selective variables. Okay. So, that is suggested at this moment. Now, if you want further details, like like some data are categorical in nature, some of our categorical nature, I told you from here. Here is numerical, I told you some data are categorical, I mean but string, okay, string categorical. But if it is string categorical, then you cannot also operate with, there are certain other approaches to do it, I will show you in a short while. But usually the standard variable or the summary statistics is not going to give you the right result, like categorical data, our result only gives mean, okay, mean value. The mean value of categorical data is actually redundant, is not right. Mean value of, for example, gender of a person, okay, mean value of a gender of a person is going to give you absurd result, okay, like gender of person are generally coded as 1, 2, 3. So, average might be boils down to 1.39. So, 1.39 actually indicates nothing. Okay. So, so you require some detailed command, okay, detailed summarize summary statistics. Here we are suggesting some detailing of it, detailing like some SU then detail, okay, summarize or detail. I think let me again go through that like I have done here, okay. Now now here I told you that SU then you where is, okay, key here. So here is a key I have entered, then detail, okay. All right. So enter. Now what it gives? It gives other information as well, like let me show you. Since there are so many variables, I have actually gone through entire one, so many pages of ours actually unnecessarily blocked, unnecessarily occupied, not blocked, occupied. So what I do, I will suggest you stick to the particular variable and operate this, like SU the variable you want, like 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, you just simply click on your variable tab, then you command detail, it gives you more information like percentiles, then it gives like skewness, kurtosis, it is visible here in the window. I am just showing you variance, mean standard deviation we already shown you in the standard command, but now in addition to that we get variance, skewness, kurtosis, also percentile figure as well, okay. Now it gives percentile, variance, kurtosis, skewness along with the above information as I already guided. So summarize without argument, please take a note, I am going to read this carefully. Summarize without arguments provides summary statistics for all numeric variables, okay, like for non-numeric variables 0 was the result. For string variable it shows no observation with their variable labels, okay. So let me proceed further. Now let us understand code book. So far we discussed browse, edit browse, then listing, then we discuss summarize, okay. Now we are trying to guide you code book. How code book, these commands are most often used, okay, to all I mean by the users. We usually use all those commands simultaneously, okay, in our everyday life for working with the data, okay, or while working with the data. So now code book, let me guide you, is a useful tool for identifying variable types and is the code book form, I mean identifying variables with the code book command called code book command. This command will produce basic information about every variable in your data set. It also produce a limited set of descriptive statistics that are helpful, like n, number of observation, range, mean, standard deviation. Now look at the screen that is visible here. This is different than that of the summary statistics we have. This gives like starting with which kind of data it is, then its range, maximum, minimum value, then the unique values, then the frequency of the particular variable and their individual value with label, okay. Is clearly given. Sometimes those labeling are not clearly written, only in value they have written. So labeling should have been mentioned. Usually for the researcher we will label, I will tell you. This also give you like information like missing values out of total observation. You just look at carefully here, total observation information is there, how many are missing, 0 is missing, okay. And this is important, if missing is there, like instead of 0 you have got some information like out of 72,528 samples, your near about 50% is missing, okay, around 30,000 or 40,000 is missing. So it must be noted as a serious issue, okay, and you must cross check your data. Or if it is like 2%, 1% is missing, and its number is given like out of this let it be 7 or 10, 10 out of this much is given. So, better to go by this missing, handle with this missing data. Usually Stata reads missing as dot in the data as dot. Okay, I'll show you if it is available in our data. I'll show you. Okay, you just have a look. Since we have filter for our use, I think we have already corrected the dot. All the entries are filled up. Okay, there is no dot here, but if any places you have seen any dot, only dot is entered instead of any on other entries, then please note that this is a missing. Okay, missing data. Now also try to let me operate this before you. Okay, likewise code book variable name, if you give it, it gives you the information. Let me now go back and go back to the startup window once again and operate. Okay. So, I will start with code book here, CODEBOOK. Okay. Then like code book, if I simply enter code book, it gives all the variables and their code books. So, I am interested for a particular variable. Let me just go by state again. Okay, state. All right. So, let me enter. So, it gives me the information of like it is string data. Okay, and its different examples or entries are also visible, and their frequency or their labeling, since labeling is not mentioned here. So, is not giving, but most importantly to be noted here the sample and there is no missing value. Okay. Similarly, you can check, please do experiment with other variables, you will find some interesting part of it and you may raise this question in our discussion time. Okay. So, let me now explain you another interesting part where most of the researchers generally do not know. Okay. Generally do not know. I claim this is important because there are certain important aspects for you to do some advanced analysis or advanced simplification of your data. Okay. Or better simplification of our data or operating our data, this command is going to be useful. Now, codebook provides extra information on the variables such as summary statistics of numerics, example data points of strings as well. Okay. Now, codebook compact is another aspect where both the all the variables are actually open in another window with all such information, variable, then observation, unique ID, okay, and its information, mean, minimum value, then maximum value and the labeling. I will tell you right now. Okay. Codebook, comma, compact. All right. Now, this has given me information in the window, in the same window, that how result is actually the data, the codes can be read in different approach, like number of observations is visible, variable and observation unique. Whether it is unique or not, look at the first one, ID is expected to be unique, but not necessarily. If there are other way of checking whether it is unique or not, I will tell you in a short while. But at this moment these two are same. I am going to tell you why this is going to be important. Okay. It seems that this variable is uniquely identified, but I am emphasizing now on the compact information. This gives in a vertical window of all those information and their labeling is also. At a go you can check all those details. So, let me come back to our explanation. Please take a note here, if you do not say what to describe or summarize or code book, Stata assumes that you want to perform those commands for every variable in the memory. So, if you specify, then it will give you, otherwise all details will be displayed on the window. Now, this is going to be very interesting for all of us to note that identifying the type of each variable. Like I told you that some colors are visible, colors in red, colors in black, colors in blue, but let us understand what are those variables, why string, okay, where to get the string, how to read a string. Okay. So, most common variable types are continuous, categorical, string and identifier variable. Usually these 4 categories are available in the existing data sets we are going to work with. So, the continuous variables we mean that can take infinite value, infinite numbers of values. Those also referred to as quantitative variables and contain actually I mean the numbers they contain actually correspond to some quantity in the real world, and mathematical operations are really possible because these are continuous variable and these are quantitative in nature. Some example we already discussed like income of the consumer, expenditure, gross value added of an enterprise, etc., are called continuous variable. Now, categorical variable, the word categorical again of these 3 types. Okay. Like category, the meaning category may be in order or may not be in order. So, on order or indicator variable. Like these are also called categorical variable or are also called factor variables. Okay. And take on finite set of values often called labels. So, since its order or on order or even indicator, some boundary limits are actually defined. Okay. Based on the boundary limits, the ordering or a non ordering is possible. Okay. And this is separate kind of variable. So, I am using these words for clarifying the concept of categorical variable. These like these are sometimes also called close ended variables. Okay. The end is closed, it is not open ended, unlike unlike the continuous variable. All right. The labels are typically stored as numbers, I mean basically labeled, sometimes with 1 or 2 for if it is gender, if it is taken gender as male and female, or 3/3 is transgender. In our data we are actually including all, I mean the national sample survey has already included transgender for your clarity. So, 3 is already there, you may operate with that or you may always operate with another one. Please take a note that the numbers do not actually represent quantities. Okay. These are just though coded or labeled with a number, but actually they are never represents the magnitude of the quantity or the degree of the quantity or the value of the quantity. 2 does not mean higher than that of 1, okay. It is not greater than 1. Okay. So, please do not read in case of order or even unordered. Ordered generally have certain higher values, is usually higher values at order or in lesser value ordered, but in case of unordered one, any number I mean those number never represents any value. So, mathematical operations just by this number, any mathematical operation on our wish is not possible. There are some specific mathematical operation is suggested, we will tell you in that particular lecture. Now, categorical variable can also be stored as strings, as I mentioned these words while understanding string variables. Categorical variables like education in case of standard of education, first standard, second standard, third standard, okay. Those are categorical, okay. But first instead of 1, 2, 3 they can carry with first Roman letter, second Roman letter, third Roman letter, okay. So, if those entries are there, you cannot just operate all conventional statistical or Stata commands will give you the result is a wrong notion. You have to convert those string to numeric values for better operation. Now, with unordered categorical variables, I have already discussed about categorical. Now, if it is unordered one, the numbers assigned are completely arbitrary, it is completely arbitrary, like one or for female or for gender I have already mentioned. So, mathematical operation has no meaning, I have already clarified that. With ordered categorical variable like standard as I told you, or maybe customer care and their ratings, usually in Likert scale, 5-point Likert scale, 7-point Likert scale, these are in order, in different order. Okay. And so far as indicator variables are concerned, just indicator, are you satisfied with the, like if we are asking this type of question, are you satisfied with her service? So, you have to indicate one. Okay. Though options are yes and no, generally yes and no, but you have to indicate one. Okay. So, this only indicates it is nothing to do with the ordering or with its category. Okay. You have to, it does signal an indicator. Okay. So, generally called dummy variables, okay, or binary variables. So, often the answering the question is like is some condition true for this observation, okay, or options will be one, yes or no. Now, string variables contain some further clarity to string variable is essential. I have already mentioned 2 types here out of 3, out of 4 continuous, categorical we explained. Now, we are explaining string variables, then we will explain identifier variables also. The string variables contain text, as I clarified several times. Sometimes the text is just labels for categories, like the categories can be simply labeled and put as in label, but the labels are not numeric values. So, they can be treated like categorical variables only. Okay. Other times they contain actual information. Okay. Even if actual information, some description information are there, descriptions are there, numerical operations just based on string variable is not possible. We have to operate in a different way, we will suggest in a short while. Okay. So, last one, understanding the variables which are entered in the data is called identifier variables. Allow you to, this identifier variable actually allows you to find observation rather than containing information about them. So, regarding observation, whether this is the identifier or not is very much understood through the identifier variables. It is nothing to do with the numeric number or nothing to do with the string number, nothing to do with the categories or not, only identifier, where these actually identify the particular row or identify the particular person or the household is very important for understanding the data. I think I am little faster for it, but since I am providing everything together, friends, you can understand from my slides. Okay. So, I will now tell you through the data. I have already given you the background of different type of variables, different type of data. I have shown you data in the sense the colors in the data or in the browsing window I have shown you the data. So, now I am clarifying the identifier variables. Identifier variables also known as primary key or the indexes and are the variables whose purpose is to actually identify the particular observation. Okay. In the row, which particular observation is it unique or there are so many observations of the same category. Okay. If it is not unique, then there will be some problem. We are going to tell you, please hold for some time, in our lecture we will certainly clarify. If you have a data set on IIT student, okay, one example IIT Roorkee students we are citing here, IIT students, then student enrollment ID would be a unique identifier like student ID number, unique ID they define is generally the unique identifier, which allow you to identify as a single row. If all the students and their information are mentioned, but the starting one is your enrollment number, against to that your age, your your class name and your batch name, your subject name, your teacher name or your previous percentage, whatever is written, but a unique ID is already defined, then that is perfectly fine. But sometimes the data set may not be having with a single unique ID, it might be coming with a compound variables. You may have to go by composite variable to define a unique ID. For example, in the IIT student, for example, here let me read out once, then I will clarify. Suppose a data set describing IIT students, but there is one row for each class the students are taking, with each class being identified by a number. In order to identify a specific row, you now need to specify both a student ID number and a class number. Okay. Student ID is there, but you need to identify which particular class. Okay. Class you wanted to add further information to the ID, like if this represents also the class number or also the student ID number. Okay. If we are also attaching some information to the ID, now from if I am the administrator, I wanted to track the person about his particular class. Okay. If that is attached with the unique ID, some additional information is attached with the unique ID, then from the new unique ID you can easily track the particular observation or the student. Okay. So, basically what I wanted to say that combining these two information, that is unique student ID with the class number, okay, combination of student ID and the class number would be a compound identifier for the data set, and the combination of the two is actually a unique ID or unique identifier. Alright. Similarly, in our data set like in ISDS data, there are so many information required, not just one ID, the first column usually the ID, but that is not enough for observation to be defined as unique ID. I will guide you, it is there in our content. Okay. Okay. So, we have actually tried to clarify the previous one where how to define the unique ID. I will also test it through ISID command we have in our PPT, in our operation. I will tell you in our next class. So, let me stop here, and thank you so much. We will continue from the next class.